type. All right, Brooklyn, what would you like to say? Oh, you're muted. You're still muted.
Namaste, mighty companion.
Now you're not muted.
Okay, I was thinking of going over the 12 steps of AA in conjunction with the Course in Miracles.
That's a great
I
idea. You talked about that this morning, I think, and
Mhm.
we're like, oh, that's a great idea. Well,
Yeah.
it's a good time to do it.
Okay.
Is Sharon here? I don't know. Sharon wanted to get involved in that, but if she's not here, that's fine too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have to find the 12 steps now. You know, no, I'm sorry. Well, I think I can remember them.
You
Okay.
know what? I can put them up on the board. I can look them up.
Thank you. Yeah, I could
Yeah,
remember them, but I want to make sure I get them right.
right. And I don't know really that much about it either. What
Did you mean Sharon?
Yeah, did I say Sharon?
No, you said Sharon. All right, I'll call Sharon.
Well, I don't know if she may be doing something, but yeah, give her a call and see if she wants to come in. Because yeah. All right. Let me see if
You're
I can.
always saving the day, Lenny.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Oh,
uh always gotta something good, I mean, well, you're the one that stepped up and said, "Hey, I will talk about that." So,
Well,
let's
that wasn't
see.
me. Holy Spirit made me do it.
There you go. Well,
Hey,
I
Elizabeth,
love that.
Mhm.
All right. Where's
I should read the preamble also.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
have
I looked this up.
the big book right in front of me. I don't open it too much anymore. I'm not going to say I should because I'm opening it up now, and I guess it's time for me.
Well, yeah, and you know what? You volunteered because Spirit called on you. So, um, all right, and so I'm going to go ahead and put this up in the room, and then you can read us the preamble.
Okay. Right.
This is Sharon's husband. She doesn't know how to set up her voicemail, so I will set it up for her.
That's Cliff.
Okay, because we're doing the 12 steps. That's all. Okay.
Coming. I just was getting my stuff. I'm coming in right now.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
Ensure domestic tranquility. Provide for the
Well,
common defense.
Google couldn't give me the preamble either. So let me start with
This is the preamble of the Constitution. What
I
is
know,
that?
I didn't mean that. I said AA, but
Oh, you put that in there. I'm like, oh my goodness.
no.
They're in the preamble to the Constitution.
Okay, let me really have we okay, let me improvise. Let me, ad lib. Of course,
Go ahead.
I don't remember exact words. Okay, it's really have we seen a person um come in and be rejected by us. We accept, I'm giving my own preamble.
Okay, that's fine.
We accept you unconditionally. We're all alcoholics. We admitted, as far as the first step, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Well, that's how I know as how I was led to A Course in Miracles. I had enough of this stuff, like really, the world did not make sense to me. And, I tried to numb it with alcohol and everything else I could get my hands on. Well, you know what I mean. Okay. And yeah, We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. We came in from Park Bench to Park Avenue, you know. We were all mixed together. We all had very similar stories, how we were unable to cope with the world. And alcohol felt like a good relaxant, and we got addicted. It took us over. We lost control. We're powerless over it. Of course, ego. We're powerless over ego, that our lives have become unmanageable. And thank God there's the course who, say to ego, you looking at me? Yeah, which I heard is, admit it. We admit it. And denial goes a long way. Never mind with alcohol, with life, with everything. So, like I know when I came in, and I remember I was having dinner with a friend. I was there for a few days, and my friend and I used to drink together. And he ordered a drink, and I says, I'm going to skip dinner. And I went to AA, and I was a few days sober. And I says,
My computer's not working. Can you hear me?
we can
Wait a
hear
minute.
you well. Hi,
It's
Sharon.
not working. I'll go on my phone.
Thank God
Okay.
for the phone. Who would have thought?
Okay, because I can't hear anything.
But anyway, yeah, like we get addicted to ego, because that's what we know. And no power. I know. Oh yeah, part of the preamble. No power. A power greater. There was nothing in our power to relieve us from the alcoholism, and that power was God as we understood Him. And yeah, it like I just felt so loved. There was a sign: we will love you till you love yourself. And I said, oh, and when I said I'm Lynn, and well, my first meeting, I'm Lynn, I think I might be an alcoholic. When I opened up the Course in Miracles, I knew right away, like, this is the truth. Oh my God, this is the truth. AA led me to A Course in Miracles. And I heard you, Dove, today. The other program led you to the Course. Yeah.
Yeah. You mean S?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, we're led. Follow the yellow brick road. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. There are agnostics, there are atheists, and there was this woman, Betty. She was an older woman, and she used to call us kids. Kids, I've seen it all. Stay away from the booze, and her higher power was a tree. She called the tree Gus, Guy upstairs. I think she was kidding, but a power greater than ourselves. It doesn't say who. And then number 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understood Him. Trust. That's it, trust. To rely upon Spirit totally. Yeah. And then we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. A lot of us got stuck on that, because we were supposed to list the good and the bad. And most of us who felt like felt lower than dirt, couldn't think of the good things. And that's where the sponsor comes in. I was very, very fortunate to get a sponsor who loved me unconditionally. I was very fortunate to have sponsees. And we used to have a sponsor party, and all the sponsors used to get together, and it was yeah, we all had our stories. So, we were selfish, but we had compassion. We were good and bad, like Rabbi Gelderman used to say, in addition to, not instead of. My last therapist was work with DBT, and she loved how the course was so like dialectical behavior therapy. And yeah, we're in everything. I heard you say, Dove, are you a Myrna, or no, Lindy said it, one of you guys, that the truth of everything resonates with the course. And yes, yes. Okay. Made a searching, fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Okay, we did that. There was no rush to do these lessons, just like the lessons in the course. You could take whatever time you needed. When I got to the lesson, I felt like I hit a brick wall because I was gobbling up the text, and I went boing, only one a day, and then I got to the last lesson and met John Monday, and synchronicity. Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, then number 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Alcoholics have such shame, and the drinking helps forget the shame for, an hour or so. And, like the ego, was, this expressions of, hack me nicht den Kopf already, stop banging me in the head, and, yeah, so it turns out, like the situations, like what alcohol would lead to. Oh my God, uh, we, okay, no, so we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being who is usually our sponsor, the exact nature of our wrongs. And I remember saying my sponsor, yeah, and she says, "Oh, you did that too?" Like they have a term in AA about being terminally unique, which can, yeah, Course in Miracles. That's, yeah, we suffer from terminal uniqueness, from terminal separation. This is so like the Course. And okay, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So that helped with denial. And when we came to step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to care of God as we understood Him, we didn't have to do the rest of them alone, the rest of these steps alone. All we had to do, we were powerless and came to believe and made a decision. Sounds familiar. Okay, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Now that's a tricky one. Yeah, get everything away from me. Get it away from me. I would call that spiritual bypassing. We were absolutely ready. We didn't want anything to lead us back to alcohol. And there's vigilance for God and His kingdom, vigilance for sobriety. And, that was number 1. Okay, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Yep, we were ready, and we were able to, we wanted help. And none of these are done perfectly, but it's a little willingness. That's what it takes. And we did them over, like people changed sponsors, and mine got married and pregnant, and I went through a few sponsors and we did it again. And my sponsees, I went through it with them. And, they'd be in shame and I'd say, oh, you did that too, Okay. He humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings, our fear, our fears, our self-hatred, our guilt and shame, all the ego stuff. Okay. Then we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Became willing. Okay. Made a list of the people we had harmed. And when we remembered, we add another one. And then I'm going to add this quick, made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. That's, what do you call that? Malignant forgiveness. If you tell someone and you really hurt them, what's it called? False forgiveness. It's like that,
Forgiveness to destroy.
Thank you, Lenny. Yeah. So you clear your chest, but it devastates them. You don't do that unless, except when to do so would injure them or others. Okay, and this one is a good one. They're all good. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Listen to Holy Spirit, and live more for the higher self than for the drunk. And yeah, so everybody makes boo-boos. And we don't beat ourselves up, but all things are lessons God would have me learn. This one I love. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Well, if that's not a Course in Miracles, nothing is. Yeah, and conscious contact. And still nobody's processing on it's God as we understood him. Praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry it out. Thy will be done, thy will be mine, thy will is mine. As Dove says, thy will be done, our will is one. And here's 12, when I couldn't talk about it to anybody, what was going on with me. And they were saying, well, step 12, no one was talking about it. I'm so grateful. My God. Mighty companions, the love. Okay. But anyway, 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Well, you know what? These are breadcrumbs, and we keep following the breadcrumbs, stepping back and let him lead the way. And whatever the steps are, and we carry this message of love and practice what would love do, as Glorian says, in all our affairs. And yeah. Namaste, mighty companions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And excuse me, if anybody has any questions or thoughts or I mean, a lot of stuff came up for me while you were speaking, and how this is kind of like the Course and kind of also not like the Course. One of the things that I think is different, although really not, is the interaction between people that I have, that I admit things to another human being. I,
Yeah.
get with, look at all the people that I've, had interactions with that have been harmful. Let me write that down and then let me contact them or make amends to them. That's something that's more of a like a social interaction. And I think for me personally, I'm going to put my camera on.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's a very scary thing. It's a very scary thing, when you start looking at. I mean, all of these things are so groundbreaking, especially. The first three, boom, 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 yeah, totally makes sense. Yes, yes, yes. Number four, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of myself. That's not just I'm sitting down with a list,
Mhm.
give me, the back of a
Napkin.
a napkin and let me write this stuff down. A searching and fearless moral inventory, for most of us, uh, myself, I will speak for, when I start looking at this stuff, the ego is not happy about me pointing out or looking at its fears and failures. So, looking at this, making this moral inventory, and it's really looking within,
Yes.
really looking within, because then once are able to do that, then admitting it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, that's a pretty scary thing, in
Mhm.
my mind. So, I don't know who it would have to be somebody who, like a sponsor, is
Mhm.
sworn to secrecy or sworn to uh, non-judgment, uh,
Definitely.
because that whole thing of, I'm going to tell you my most shameful thoughts, and you're not going to judge me for it. That takes a lot of trust. So yeah. And I see Sharon has her hand up, and I see Rafi has his hand up. So go ahead, Sharon.
Well, I just want to say,
Oh
Lenny,
yeah.
yeah, it's all about trust. Yeah, well, this is divinely inspired, definitely. It like with the Course in Miracles, the first, set of lessons focuses on form, and after that, it's on content. What, like these were, so it reminds me, like this is focused on form, but if it opens a door. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Lenny.
Thank you, Brooklyn.
Mhm.
It's
You know what? I
awesome.
didn't know you were going to do this, Brooklyn, tonight because I was
I
going to
didn't
bring.
either.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Here's the thing. This program like saved my life. I
Mm,
had this program before I had the course 3 years before. And I was coming from a background where I was brought up Jewish and we would celebrate holidays, but I really didn't have a relationship with God. I heard about God when things got bad, but that was all about, oh my God, that kind of thing. But we didn't have any rituals in my house. So when I found the steps, I resisted them for maybe a couple of years. And then I went into I went into a program in Philly, and I wasn't able to quiet my mind, and I wasn't having an easy time, and a lot of drama happened after that. And I ended up in Altoona because I said to my inner self, I need to be one pointed. I need only God right now. Just too much happened. And when I tell you that I took this program so seriously, and it's definitely divinely inspired, and it's the same voice. There's only one voice, there's only one being that's dreaming us. So it's the same thing, but that what Lynn is saying is true. It doesn't take us to the fact that we're mind and that the bodies are just a projection. So what happens when you get into the course, it just gives you edge right into it. But these steps you could use and just realize when you're in the ego identity, that's when you're in trouble. And that's a hard one because, I say yes and no, because the ego, in some ways, we talk about that as your helper. But when it's in the hate separation, when it believes it's separate, it's always guilty. It has to. And when it believes it's a body, it's always guilty. So it's like a growth. It's really the classroom that we go into. This classroom of the 12 steps absolutely saved my life. When I say that, all I did was talk. I was a nervous wreck. I mean, in 5 years, everything that happened was so traumatic that in my 40s that I don't know, but there was something in me that knew I had to become one-pointed and only want God, not want a guy to fix up my life, not get a better job. It was just about this. And this is when every single tool kept coming in my life, when I realized there's nowhere else to go. And I tried the religious part of it, and it didn't work because that's not where I was supposed to be. So when I see what you've done, Brooklyn, it's beautiful because it's not easy I didn't have to come off alcohol. I had to come off something that I'm still in a process of coming off of, and that's codependency. That's really the ego. And just tonight, I was having a talk with a friend about the fact that I'm getting honest, that, Ken Wapnick always speaks the fact that we want to be separate. And yes, that is an unconscious prayer that we do not want to be, we want to be the infinite when we're in the higher state, but the ego doesn't like love. And we believe that we're safe with the ego. So we were talking about how God just wants to see itself. Its life is having a relationship with itself through us. However, when you look at that, yes, life is having a relationship with us, but then something came up about a civil war happening, and we rushed right into that story, and we both cracked up laughing. And that is what you call addiction, you see? And that is addiction. So I was thinking maybe down the road, we should have a 12-step program written out on how we are addicted to this ridiculous mind that's talking to itself, It's insane. And so, yes, you can use these steps. You can design them any you want. You meet great people and you don't meet great people, but for the most part, you're going to meet your mighty companions. My first sponsor was difficult. My second, she just was like, well, she was like my mother. She had that way of screaming at me, and I just was scared. And I said to her one day, I just don't want you to be my sponsor. I already had this in my life. And I found a very gentle sponsor that was absolutely the best sponsor anyone could have. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's a beautiful program. We're addicted to the ego. Yeah, I'm addicted. I can only speak for myself. I see it. And sometimes I'm just laughing about it, but it's okay. It's a process, and it's a school we're in. So, Brooklyn, thank you. You are so precious.
Oh, thank you, dear Sharon. Thank you. Rafi, hi. Hello.
Hi, it was fascinating because I'm not a drinker, never was. So it's something that has no appeal. But so I'm reading along and I'm going along with everybody, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is good. This makes sense. This is great. Then all of a sudden got to number 11. And when it said 11, improve our conscious contact with God, resistance came up. Bang! He goes, what? What are you talking about? So I got a hold of the resistance, and I said, there are no mistakes. Everything is unfolding as it should. If I wasn't supposed to be here engaged, I wouldn't be. I know that. So that I didn't understand where the connection was until I hit that. And then all this resistance, I said, that's why I'm here, to get a hold of this resistance and let it go. And I did. And all of a sudden, everything was back to peace and harmony again. And then it went to number 12, and it said, try to carry this message. And I get back to what Lester Levinson always used to say, share the method with others. And share what you know with others, because what you're doing is letting them know what they already know, but it's been covered up with all of this ego, these ego mentations. So I thought, wow, this is when it becomes this obvious, it's so great. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rafi. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yeah, absolutely. John Sunday. Hi, sweetheart. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. And thank you, Rafi, for sharing. I love that, that concept, just share it, just share it, just share it. I think, you know, your ability to share on this group is fantastic. Like, Lynn, you shared your stuff, you pull it out the hat. It's right here today. I saw the same thing yesterday, I think, with Lynn, when you pulled it out of the hat. You never know what's coming. I'm very excited to be here. Thrilled, actually. And my comment is, my commentary goes as, to speaks more to what you said about God. And it's the same thing as Rafi, you know, because number 3, and it's extraordinary because today just picked up a book and I opened it and it came to the word nature, you know, and I thought, oh, that's beautiful. So I just looked at it and I got a couple of quotes and I'd just like to share them if it's okay.
Mhm.
And this one says, it's not true that equality is a law of nature. Nature has no equality. Its sovereign law is subordination and dependence. And that's from this Marquis de Fellingham in the 17th century. In other words, we're dependent on God for everything. We just have to wake up to the fact that God's running a show, you know, at the end of the day. You know, we may think we're big egos and stuff like that, but, you know, we're on a tight leash in you know, if we really knew about it. But I like that one. The other one is, I believe in God. Only I spell it Nature. I spell it nature. And I like that too, because that's you know, my kind of philosophy. You know, I look at all, you know, the manifest of the heavens and the earth. And that was written by Frank Lloyd Wright. And I don't know who he was, but he died in 1959. But this guy I liked is Zeno, and he's 300 BC, and he says the goal of life is living in agreement with nature. That's living in agreement with God. So I really like that, how the number 3 ties in with God. You know, like just getting our act together with God as we define it, as we understand it. So it's beautiful, and I really appreciate to have that reminder, Brooklyn. That's just great that you can cough it up like this. The other thing that I like and a lot is what I heard about, what I heard Lynn saying about the forgiveness part, you know, and like and then when you reported, what did you call that, when you make amends? And I know this because when I took some classes from Byron Katie maybe 20 years ago, and that was one of the things she was big on, you know, that if you screwed up, you know, you need to go back and make amends. And so I did that, you know, and I found it personally very, very relieving in the sense that I'm releasing it off of myself. But I see where the course is going, the course is going, saying like, I mean, if I don't make those amends, I can keep that program running. That you know, that in some way that, you know, I've gotten something here, and you know, that it's like a denial in a way. But a really way to let that go is to report it to the person, because otherwise to a degree I'm keeping it real by not, but I'm making it unreal by reporting it. I'm making it unreal in my own mind, you know, and you know, whatever happens, the other person is really up to them. But basically, my life is the one that's online, you know, and I need to be squeaky clean about what's going on for me as best as I can. So I appreciated Byron Katie's lesson in that, and I was able to do some good cleansing on that. And so I see we got a few people waiting in the line, but I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you, John. They say keep our own side of the street clean.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Remove the blocks to love's awareness, the obstacles to, yeah, and the ego in AA, we call it the sickness. That's what we call the ego, the sickness.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's about it too. And it can be cured. Something you just said, John, and I forgot it. I forgot what I was going to say. It'll come back to me. But yeah, it's that uh, what we try to hide, we hide because we're afraid of it. So if we reveal it, it's just like, you know, turning on the light when, you know, you're afraid of the dark. You know, there's nothing to be afraid of. And so, you know, that's really what this is all about, is, you know, revealing to ourselves this the truth about our thoughts And also, because we share it with someone else, which is part of the process here, then you can't hide it again.
Mm.
You can't, you can't fool yourself about it again that, oh yeah, oh no, I really didn't mean that. And, that's not what I really was thinking. Once you've uncovered it and shared it with somebody, then it's in the open and you realize there's nothing to be afraid of. Why were you so afraid in the first place? So, yeah, you made me think of that, John, when you were speaking. I'm not sure
Yeah, it's
exactly
like
what you said.
it's like you spilled the beans. The beans have been spilled. There's nothing to hide.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I love it.
Purification.
That's it. And that's what miracles are natural, but purification
Mhm.
is necessary first. So yeah, absolutely. Karen.
Yeah,
you-
thanks everyone. Everyone, I loved all your shares. And thank you, Lynn, Brooklyn. That was amazing. Everything you said and everything you shared on the steps. And this was a great topic to bring up tonight. Well, I got to agree with Sharon. This program totally saved my life.
Me too.
Um, Totally. I really did. And I am so grateful for AA. And I just can't say enough about it. And it did lead me to the course. I wanted to share about a little bit about how it works in chapter 5. How it works is kind of what we used to read. I don't know about you guys, but before we would start the step meetings or steps, or even a meeting, we would read how it works in chapter
That's it.
5.
How it
Yeah,
works, not the preamble. Oh my goodness. Thank
how it
you.
works.
Thank you, Karen.
And I'm just going to read it. It's only a few paragraphs. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us, but there is one, capital O, who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half-measured measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested. And then they go into the steps. But what I wanted to say about this, how it works is, when he says, remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful, that is the ego.
Mhm.
In the course for me is the ego is cunning, baffling, and powerful, and without help it is too much. And there is one who has all power, and that one is God. May you find it now. Half measures availed us nothing. So it's all or nothing. Just like the course, it's all or nothing. And these steps, I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to take up too much time, but we could do a whole, hour on these steps, comparing them to the course, because they really can be related to the course in so many ways. So thank you, Lynn, so much. It was beautiful.
Thank you so much, Karen. Yeah, my memory isn't that good. I called it the preamble. It's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Preambles for
So
my
there is a
husband.
preamble. There is a preamble. I think it's just something different.
Oh,
But
okay.
there is a preamble, though.
Thank
So what I remember out of AA was, and that I'm reminded of now, was the cunning, baffling, and powerful. That I remember those words, and then what always came up to haunt me after I left AA was half measures availed us nothing. And I'm the poster girl for that, I think, because it ended up to be so true. So anyway.
Thank you, Cindy.
I wanted to, first of all, I kind of second everything that Karen just said, but I didn't take 12 step, but you were so wonderful in sharing this. And I think it's, your willingness to do it on a moment's notice, it takes total trust to do that. And yes, for Dre Dan Cup and Zucker's Minor, we translate that, it means make yourself crazy and make believe it's my mind you're doing it to, or in English, knock yourself out. Anyway, I just want to say a couple of things about 12 step. I used to say that Marianne Williamson and Gary Renard had led more people to the Course in Miracles than anyone else, and I just realized I'm mistaken. 12 step has led more people to the Course in Miracles than anything else, including Marianne. Probably Marianne and Gary together cannot match what 12 step has done, bringing people to the path of the Course in Miracles. And just a side note on Bill Wilson, who of course was one of the founders. He was a guy just like Byron Katie and Eckhart Tolle. He hit rock bottom and he brought himself back up. And can you imagine a person who hits rock bottom and then does something like 12 step that brings so many people to a new spiritual level? Amazing. Thank you so much, Brooklyn.
Oh, thank you so much, Dove. It is amazing. Miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you want to get a book that's good, it's Betty Jean Kudoff with another guy, his last name's Ridgman, wrote Course in Miracles and 12 Steps side by side. And what they did was they arranged it in the lessons, and it just is so, it's saying the same thing, but what I realize is that the course might be and it is, a different level, because what I see is that we are vibrational beings.
Mhm.
It brings us out of hell, the 12 steps, and then spirit takes us further and deeper into the mind when we find out the person is irrelevant. The person just a thought. So it's a stage process. And the other thing I was going to say is anybody wants to hear somebody teach both of these, it's Paul Hederman. Paul Hederman has did his own stuff. It's come through him. He has like a genius, like every one of us, this genius, right mind. And he takes that and he just does it in a creative way. So I just wanted to share that. Brooklyn, you are so precious. Thank you for everything tonight. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. You spotted, you got it. You're precious.
I just want to say, Lynn plays a lot of Paul Hederman right here at Gather. A lot of people just love Paul Hederman. If you haven't heard him, listen.
Yeah, he is, of course, I love him. He reminds me so much of my friend Polly from Boston. So he has that same even kind of accent and everything, and the same really smart ass kind of wit. And, very funny, very great sense of humor, and very what do you call it? Uh, just clear and open. But and yeah, you know, he studied A Course in Miracles, came to it from AA, and he was, you know, in a very bad situation, as so many people are. And so, you know, my sister was in AA for her whole life after she got clean and sober, and she was just just so crazy with alcohol. Her husband was killed in a mine collapse, and she had two little boys, and it she she just went crazy when that happened, and she just started drinking, and she drank every day. I mean, she slept with a bottle, you know, right next to her bed. You know, if she woke up in the night, she would drink. She drank all day, every day, and when she finally got to the very bottom, when she got to the very bottom where she was absolutely powerless, and you know, woke up, you know, one morning in an alley in downtown Denver with, you know, she had no idea where she had been or what she had done. Days had passed, and she called, and they went and picked her up and took her to the mental health center, and she got into the program, AA, and she was very, you know, for the rest of her life she was wonderful. But during the time when she was drinking, and my nephews, her sons and her daughter, were young, she was outrageous and horrific, and you know, things happened that these children grew up with, you know, terrible mental scars from this life. And you know, my nephew died from I don't know, maybe fentanyl or some kind of overdose. My other nephew, you know, was in prison off and on for, you know, years and years, and you know, took so many drugs that you know, he's the same age as me, and he's, you know, like incoherent, uh just completely has no uh you know, no life. You know, he's in a nursing home and has been for like 15 years, from the prison into the nursing home. Um, but no, I don't want to go on about all that, but that's, you know, what happened because, you know, she was addicted to alcohol, and the whole, you know, everything around her was, you know, basically destroyed by that, you know, that thing. So, you know, when she got clean and sober, it was great for her. But then, you know, all the damage had already been done everywhere else. And that's, you know, that's one of the reasons that, you know, this stuff is so wonderful. You know, if people can come, you know, get to, get to the bottom of the barrel quick enough that they were able to, you know, think about getting into something like this and getting healed. Um, but you know, this is, you know, it's a wonderful program, and I'm so grateful for it. You know, I have not been in it, but you know, I can see, I have so many friends who are in recovery, and so many friends that are just saints, you know, spiritually, you know, very mature because of the work that they did in AA. So, yeah, thank you again. John, Cindy has his hand up, and then Karen again, and then Cindy. So go ahead, John.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. Thanks for that. And you just triggered me in my idea about when you said about coherency and also the kids, because just yesterday I picked up a book that had been around for quite a while. I mean, since the 80s or 90s. And I just read that this guy is a Scottish psychiatrist writing in the 80s, R.D. Laing, a very famous writer and author. And he's saying at that time there was 10 times more chance of children winding up with mental problems than there is of going to university at that time, you know. So it just speaks to, you know, the what you say about coherency. And I think that kind of like begs the question, how are we raising our children? You know, how, like, what's going on here? And and I like the idea that spoke to before, about loving our children. But when we speak to coherent societies, I think the closest thing we come, as far as I know, is in Africa, where they have, they say it takes a village to raise a child. And my friend Derek, he went there with on a sort of a holiday vacation thing, and he spent time in the villages there because this is what he was studying, and he was amazed, that the role of the parents is one thing, just to love their children, nothing else. That's their only job. The uncles and aunts are the ones that if there's any discipline needed, they're the ones who would be called in to shape the children's behavior, whatever was needed. But the parents was just so their only task was to love their children, and that started right when the baby was in the womb. The father would listen to the baby and welcome it, and bit by bit. So it's more of a loving society. When you compare that to say North America, like us, we have here, where there's a very high divorce rate and many children single parent raised, and the difficulties that those children have because the difficulties that their parents had. So this speaks a lot to what Brooklyn is talking about. And you just starting cleaning up our act piece by piece. May take a few generations, I don't know, but it's not going to happen overnight. And yeah, but it does take people in an awareness is like what you're presenting here for us to do this and having an opportunity like this. So I'll turn it over to Karen. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. Karen, please go ahead.
Right. Thank you, John. And thank you, Lynn, for sharing about the devastation of alcohol. Alcohol, in my opinion, is one of the most devastating drugs out there, and the damage that it does to people, to families, to others. I mean, to ourselves. So I'm looking at step 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And when we get sober, we recognize what we did, the devastation that we left behind, the people that we hurt, not to mention ourselves, but the people that we hurt. And I remember when I was in rehab, there was this one girl, I'm not going to go into details, but we really had it out for each other. And when we were drinking it, we got into this pretty bad fight. And I made amends to her. She was the very first person I caught, I remember. And she did not accept my apology. She did not accept it. And I was very humbled by that. And I said to myself, that's okay. That's okay. It didn't discourage me from making amends to anyone else because I knew how badly I hurt her and that I didn't blame her, to be honest with you. But I made my amends and I did my part, And then later on down the road, years and years later, we became friends again and it all healed. But it took a long time. I mean, the hurt and the devastation that when we're drinking, what alcohol does, because we're not in our right minds. We are not in our right minds. So that step, made a list of all persons we had harmed, became willing to make amends to them all, was really, really, really helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Who else had their hand up? I see Brooklyn has her hand up. Go ahead, honey.
Wow. I'm so appreciative of this discussion. I'm so appreciative of us. Yeah, just because we make amends doesn't mean that they have to accept it. We clean up our own side of the street. And I'm just thinking about the course. And I'm just thinking about I've lost everything that I went through because it got me to where I am now. All the horrors and no, like Erica Young says, childhood is a universal affliction. Well, life is a universal affliction. And yeah, without forgiveness, we can't remember who we are. with the shame and the guilt of what we put other people through. Everyone comes into everyone's life for a reason. I'm paraphrasing the course again. All things are lessons God would have me learn, no matter the heartache. And like there's a lot of heartache in this world, but that's what the world is, heartache. And but the heartache, you don't notice light without the darkness. Wounded healer, how about that? The wounded healer could give the most. Like Kyle Gibran says, the deeper sorrow carves in you, the more joy you can contain. Yeah, there's a lot of people who went through hell. Alcoholics are one of them. And not everybody makes it. My best friend died from a drug overdose, and my friend's son of the fentanyl, but there's more than that. My friend who died didn't go anywhere. Thank you, God. I was blown away. And temptation of the ego is sneaky Pete. Also I want to mention John wrote a few books, A Course in Miracles, and one book like that, A Course in Miracles, and it's so exciting to see the similarities expressed in different words. And it's God blesses everybody.
Thank you so much, Brooklyn. Thank you, everybody who's shared this evening. Wow, what a great, what a great impromptu. This is finding your inner guide. That's exactly what we're talking about. Is like, I don't, what are we going to talk about? Oh, hey, maybe I'll talk about this. Okay, and look, what a wonderful thing this is. So. I love that. I love your willingness to speak up and this is like I said, I know many people who are in 12-step programs and I've seen the shifts in people's lives when they've gotten into the program and they're actually able to come back to life. I mean, really, I mean, this is, these addictions are death. And, you are the living dead. And, when you can get out of that, it's like being reborn. And I've seen it many times. So thank you, Brooklyn. I'm going to close down the share. And what do we got here? Posted. Oh, beautiful. More proof that we are all here serving each other consciously or unconsciously. Oh, that's Mary Magdalene?
Yep.
Very nice. All the Marys now. So, all right, you guys. I love you all. And we will see you Thursday. Tomorrow's my day off. I'm just like all happy, not happy because I love being with you guys, but I also love having the time when I don't have any obligations. I don't have to be looking at the clock, trying to, oh boy, I better run in there and turn this on or off. And not that I mind it, I love it, but I also love, not thinking about it too. So
We love you, Lynn. We just love you. You're the best. You just feel better. Feel better.
oh, I'm feeling much better now.
Oh, I'm so
That's what
glad.
this morning when I got up, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if I don't even want to talk to anybody. Yeah, I took a shower and try to get myself all straightened up. But after being here with you guys for a couple hours, I was like, bing, all
That's
feeling
what love
fine.
does. Love is
So,
power.
yeah. So
Yeah. All righty. See
guys.
everybody soon.
I love you all.
Love us.
Love you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Big hugs.
Big
Yes.
hugs to all